Hey everyone, Kelly Dean Allen here. Now, if you're Canadian like myself and, say, 50 plus, let's say, you'll know this song very, very well, as it was a massive hit here in Canada back in the early 80s. Now, if you're about the same age from elsewhere in the world, you still might know it, as it did reach as high as number 11 on Billboard's rock charts in 1981. Featured in a couple of movies and TV shows throughout the 80s and 90s, I believe. And I think it also did pretty well in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. That said, if you're not familiar with it at all, I implore you to seek it out and give it a listen, as it's a bloody fantastic guitar-driven rock track from the once very popular Canadian band Red Rider. The band that Canadian singer-songwriter Tom Cochrane spearheaded before becoming a solo artist after disbanding Red Rider in the late 80s. You know Tom Cochrane, Life is a Highway, that fella. Suffice to say, great song, great riff, and slick and relatively easy slide guitar solo mid-song if you're keen to try your hand at a bit of simple slide work. But let's get started with this one, shall we? We are in standard tuning for this tutorial, and if you know this track, you know that it starts with about 40 seconds of kind of ambient synthesizer, a little bit of ambient guitar as well. But when the guitars proper do kick in, they kick in with this. And then a big slide down the neck, right? So we're using basically 3 chords for this entire track. Power chords, 3-finger power chords, B, D, and A. And we're starting in B with 2 downstrokes, and you're going to choke that off. You're going to do a 3 count, and then you're going to repeat that 3 more times. However, the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th time you repeat that right there, you're going to kickstart the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th one with an upstroke. Kind of like that, right? So, from the beginning, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. And then the 4th one you let ring, and you do a big pick scrape down the neck, and then you drop into an A power chord and the main riff. Right? So what we're doing there, we're hitting that A power chord twice, and then you're going to go to open D, hammer back onto the 2, which is part of the power chord, right, of the D string, pick it again, and then catch the A note there at the 2nd fret of the G string on the upstroke. Right like that. And you're going to repeat that for 4 bars, or 4 times. And you're going to drop into B and do the exact same thing. 4 times. Now, of course, in B, we're now hammering on from the bar, which we're holding with our index finger at the 2nd fret, hammering on to 4, picking it again, and then catching the 4 of the G string on the upstroke. And you're repeating that 4 times. And then we drop into D and the first verse when the vocals come in. Playing the exact same thing, now hammering on 5 to 7, catching the 7 of the G string on the upstroke. 4 times. Back to B. Back to D. B. Off to A. B. A. And at this point, we break into this little melodic break, as there is no chorus in this track. And so we break into this here, a little break between the first verse and the 2nd verse. So we're hammering on the B power chord, this time at the 7th fret position, twice. And then we're doing this little double stop on the D and the G string at the 9th fret. A lot more gain on the original version than I have on my amp right now, but Little bend release of that double stop of the D and the G string on the 9th fret. Drop off to the 7th fret of the G and finish on the 9 of the D with a double hit. And then you repeat that 3 times. And the 3rd time you just hang on that note and let it ring. And then you drop back into D again for the 2nd verse. B. Same as the first. D. B. A. B. A. And at this point, another melodic break before the slide solo. Doing kind of the same thing we were doing for the first one. Double hits of this B power chord, but instead of doing this time, there's a bit more of a heavy synthesizer effect going on here, and the guitar is playing along with it, so it's more like little double stops. Right? Each one's different between the hits of this B power chord. Hit it twice. So we're going to grab a double stop here on the 7 of the G, 8 of the B, move it up 2 spots. And then you're going to drop your ring finger onto the 11 of the D string, make this little A chord, right? Back to the B, 2nd one. Little bar on the 7th fret of the G and the B, drop onto the 8 of the B, move it up 2 spots. So that's the 2nd one. 3rd one. 3rd one is 9-10 of the G, B, move it up 2 spots, move it back 4 spots to 7-8. And then the final one, 11-12, back it up 2 spots. And now we're back in the same position again. We're going to drop back onto that 11 of the D, into that little A chord right there, right? So that's that little section. And now we're into the slide solo. Now the slide solo on the studio version of this one is played on a lap steel, not with a finger slide on a regular guitar. I do not have a lap steel, so I'm going to play it on this guitar and see if I can get through it. This guitar is not set up for slide guitar whatsoever, so I'm going to do my best to keep the string rattle to a minimum, but we may hit some, and if we hit some string rattle, I do apologize. But I'm going to have to increase my gain on my amp here a little bit and grab my slide, so I will be right back. Alright, so I've got my slide, I've got a bit more gain on my amp here, and the solo goes a little something like this. So that's pretty much the solo right there. So it starts on the 17th fret of the B string. We're going to back that up to 15 and then back it up to 14. And then slide out of that. Then you're going to slide into a double stop at the 4th fret of the D and the G. And then you're going to grab the 5th fret of the B, slide it into 7, and then catch the 7 of the high E. And you repeat that twice. Right? You're going to let those two notes ring together, give a little vibrato. Then we're going to slide into a double step at the 2nd fret from the 1st fret, into 7 of the G, back to 6. Then we're going to go 7 into 9, slide it back to 7. Then we're going to jump down here to the 10th fret of the high E. I'm going to slide back to 9 and back to 7 with a double hit. Back to 10, into 14, into 17, and then back to 14. Kind of like that, right? Back to another double stop on the 4th fret of the D and the G. And then we're going to do that 3 times. So you slide into the double stop, and then you back it up to the 2 of the D, slide into 4 and catch the 4 of the G, and you repeat that 3 times. And after the 3rd time, you're going to move that 4th fret, up to 7, back to 6, back to 4, and then back to 2. And then the final 4 notes of the solo, 15 to 14 of the B, and then 7 off to 5 of the B. And that's the end of the solo. So that's pretty much it. So let's run through it nice and slow here. And that's the end of the solo. I'm going to kill my gain, be right back. Good then, so now we're back into this again after the solo for 4 repeats. And then we drop into A for the kind of the tail end of a verse. Into B. B. One final verse. D. B. A. And then we're back into this again, the little double stops that we did just before the solo, and we repeat it like 3 times, the whole progression 3 times as the song fades out. And it just repeats right until fade out. And that, my friends, is how you play that one, Lunatic Fringe by Tom Cochrane and Red Rider. Certainly hope you found this helpful, enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button, drop me a subscribe if you haven't done that already, as that would be awfully kind. Hope you're well out there in your little guitar corner of the world, wherever that may find you, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.